The Speaking Statements, the podcast of statements about the 50 U.S. states. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for alerts for when a new episode is released.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to the middle episode of season 4 for the Speaking Statements. It's our first episode to have two guests on today. They both live in Indianapolis right this very second. I want to introduce my family friend, Keegan, and my family friend's husband, Matt. Hi.
Hello.
Julian, so good to talk to you today.
All right, so my first question is, can you tell me about the Indy 500 racetrack?
Yeah, so we love the Indy 500 race. We have been just one time, but it's a really big event that happens in Indianapolis every single year. And what's cool about the Indy 500 is that they have like a whole month full of activities and events before the actual race. So they do a half marathon, and you get to run part of the half marathon on the track, which is really cool. And then there's the race itself. And I'll let Matt tell you a little bit about the race itself.
So the race itself is 500 miles long. The race track is 2.5 miles, and so they race 200 laps around the racetrack. And they go pretty fast. The cars are very fast. They're quite loud. Sometimes over 200 miles an hour, the race cars are going.
Wow, good answer. My second question is, what kind of foods are popular in Indiana? Matt, you want to take that first?
Yeah, there's a couple of popular foods. So one common dish is a fried tenderloin sandwich, where they take a slice of pork and they flatten it real thin, cover it in breading, and fry it. They serve it on a hamburger bun, but the pork cutlet is often much bigger than the hamburger bun, sometimes bigger than the size of the plate it's served on.
Whoa, good. And Keegan, you want to add into that?
Yeah, so when we moved to Indiana 9 years ago, we were really surprised to find out how much people in Indiana love breadsticks. I know that sounds kind of funny, but you're not going to believe what they love to dip breadsticks in: nacho cheese sauce. So we would go out to eat, and like there would be whole meals that were just breadsticks and nacho cheese sauce. And that was really surprising to us. It was something new we hadn't seen a lot of before, but very popular.
Oh yeah, good answer, both of you. My third question is, what do you like about Indiana and why?
One of my favorite things about Indiana is all of our state parks. We have some really beautiful state parks in Indiana, and I don't think people know about them. They're kind of hidden gems in our state. My favorite state park is Turkey Run State Park, and the reason I love Turkey Run is because when you're hiking in that park, it doesn't feel like you're in Indiana. It's really cool. So there's some cool structures, natural structures in there, and the hiking is really nice. And you can also do kayaking and canoeing there too.
I'll add, I think I really like the people here in Indiana. You may have heard the phrase Midwest nice. Definitely applies here. You know, you're just out on a walk and people are so friendly and neighborly and want to say hello and chat. And so we just really like, living in our neighborhood and getting to know the neighbors.
That was a good answer. It's a bit like our Illinois episode. My fourth question is, how are Illinois and Indiana alike and not alike? Matt, you want to take that first too?
Yeah, I can start first. I think there's a lot of similarities. Both have a lot of farms and kind of agriculture in parts of the state. I think maybe a big area where they're different is obviously in Illinois. You guys have the big city of Chicago, one of the biggest in the country. We have Indianapolis as our largest city, but it's much smaller. And then maybe another difference, or maybe I guess technically a similarity, is Lake Michigan. So there's obviously a big chunk of Lake Michigan beside Chicago, and on up that corner of Illinois, there is a tiny sliver of Lake Michigan that belongs to Indiana. And so we like to go up there to the Indiana Dunes, both the state and national parks.
So I've actually lived in both states. And fun fact about me, Julian, I've lived in 3 of the 4 I states. So I've lived in Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa, but I've never lived in Idaho. So I kind of know a little bit about what it's like to live in each state. And I think kind of similar to Matt, I have some similar thoughts. One of the big differences I think about Indiana and Illinois is that in Indiana, we have people kind of spread out. The population of the state is spread out across the state, whereas in Illinois, it's like there's a big concentration of people living near Chicago and around Chicago. And then I think one of the other big differences, like Matt said, Indianapolis is our biggest city, and that's also our capital city. So the most people that live in a city live in our capital city, which is kind of cool. I would say the people are very similar from Illinois to Indiana. There's lots of farms in Indiana, same as Illinois. And I think we also have some really good museums. We have one of the best children's museums in the nation in Indianapolis, which is kind of cool. So I think there's some great things, similarities and differences about each state.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. My 5th question is, what kind of hobbies are popular in Indiana? Matt, you want to take that first?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different popular hobbies here. Of course, we talked about the Indy 500, so people like watching races, going to races. Bicycling is another popular hobby. Keegan and I both like bicycling as well. There's a lot of great trails systems, and there's a lot of groups that get together and go on big group rides as well.
Yeah, Keegan, what can you add to that?
Yeah, so I've noticed, we have a lot of the same hobbies here in Indiana as other states, but one of the big hobbies that's become very popular here is pickleball. We're seeing pickleball courts pop up everywhere across the city. I've never tried it. Have you done pickleball?
No, but I know it's like mini tennis.
Yeah, it's kind of like mini tennis. So that's been very popular here. And we also, now this is more for Indianapolis, but we have lots of sports teams here in Indianapolis. So people love watching the Pacers. They love watching our football team. We also have an amazing women's basketball team here that has Caitlin Clark. She's a very popular women's basketball player, so that's kind of cool. People love going to watch her play. So I'd say sports watching is a big, big hobby around here.
Good answer. My last question and 6th question is, can you tell me about the farms in Indiana? And I want Keegan to take that first.
Oh my gosh, you know what? I think Matt might be better at answering this question than me. All I know is that some of our farms, the one thing I know about our farms is that some of the farms have very rocky soil. So you have to be very particular about where you do your farming in Indiana because some of the soil here is really rocky, which is not the best for growing crops. But I think Matt could probably add more to that.
Like a lot of other Midwestern states, Indiana grows a lot of corn and soybeans. I think Indiana's number 5 in terms of the amount that we grow. Indiana's number 2 in popcorn. So the popcorn that you enjoy in the microwave or at the movie theater, big chance it's from Indiana. And then I think this is really interesting. I had no idea when I moved here, but Indiana is number 1 in duck production. So if you've ever had duck at a restaurant or brought it home to eat, good chance it's from Indiana.
Oh, yeah. That was a good answer. I'm done with my questions for today. We were glad to have you here, Keegan and Matt, to talk about Indiana.
Thanks for having us, Julian.
Yeah, excited to tell you all about it.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And now we're going to do my notes. It borders 4 states, which are Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky, and Michigan. It also borders 1 Great Lake, which is Lake Michigan. It became a state in 1816. It's pretty early because it was the 19th century. The biggest city and the capital are both Indianapolis. The abbreviation is IN. Indiana is named after Native Americans who lived there. The nickname is the Hoosier State. Common birds in Indiana are bald eagles, eastern bluebirds, and hairy woodpeckers. Common reptiles are box turtles, ring-necked snakes, and skinks. Some of the state's most valuable resources are gas, oil, and coal. Sand, gravel, and limestone are also mined in Indiana. Now we'll do the fast facts of Leo. Give it a go, Leo. It's all yours.
What is the state key?
That would be the tulip tree.
What is the state flower?
It's the peony.
What is the state bird?
That would be the cardinal.
What is the state pie?
It's sugar cream.
What is the state beverage?
Water.
What is the state snack?
Popcorn. So that's all. Thanks for having us, Leo.
Thanks for having me. Bye, bye, bye.
And last but not least, we have the Indiana corner, which is a picture of an Indy 500 race car, an outline of the state, and words that say Crossroads of America. That's all for today. But check in next week for our second to last episode, season 4. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Speaking Statements.